Why did Apple suddenly boost iPhone production by 4 million units? It might sound like a surprise move, but once you see what's going on behind the scenes, it all starts to make sense, and Samsung might just be the biggest winner here. Apple has quietly changed its plans for the second quarter of 2025. According to a new report from Morgan Stanley, Apple is now planning to make 45 million iPhones this quarter instead of the earlier 41 million. That's a 15% jump. iPad production is also going up from 11.5 million to 13 million units, which is about a 24% increase compared to the same time last year. So what's driving this sudden increase? A big part of it has to do with tariffs. The ongoing trade tension between the US and China continues to create uncertainty, especially as the Trump administration signals that tariff policies might change again. Right now, some tech products like phones are temporarily excluded from US tariffs, but that could change fast. Apple doesn't want to be caught off guard, so it's acting now, before any cost hikes kick in. By increasing production early, Apple can build up inventory and avoid rushing if tariffs hit harder later. It's a smart way to stay ahead of the game and make sure shelves stay stocked even as supply chains get messy. But that's not all. Apple is also making big moves to spread out its manufacturing. Right now, a lot of its devices are made in China and Vietnam, but those countries could face tariff hikes of up to 145% and 46% respectively. That's a massive risk for a company like Apple. To manage that, they're increasing production in India and even starting to make some iPhones in Brazil, especially the new iPhone 16e. What's really interesting here is how Samsung and other South Korean companies benefit from all this. Apple might be making the devices, but it doesn't make everything in-house. It relies heavily on suppliers for key components. Samsung Display, LG Display, and LG Innotek are major players in Apple's supply chain. They supply things like OLED screens and camera modules. In fact, more than 80% of LG Innotek's income last year came from Apple orders. Samsung Display is also deeply connected to Apple, with around 40% of its revenue tied to them. So when Apple boosts production by millions of units, it doesn't just help Apple. It gives a major boost to these South Korean companies too. That's why Samsung, even as a rival smartphone maker, stands to benefit in a big way from Apple's latest production shift. One important detail: these extra devices aren't brand new models. They're current generation iPhones and iPads that are already on the market. Apple is simply making more of what's already out there to avoid last-minute problems later on. It's also a way to make the transition into the launch of the iPhone 17 smoother. That launch is expected later this year, and by front-loading the production of existing devices now, Apple can focus more on its next big release when the time comes. In the end, this is all about smart planning. Apple doesn't want to wait around for policies to change. It's choosing to act now so it can stay in control. Whether or not tariffs go up, the company will have a strong inventory ready, and its supply chain will be more flexible and spread out than ever. And with Samsung and other South Korean suppliers playing a bigger role in all of this, the impact reaches far beyond Apple alone. If you found this interesting, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more updates like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Curious about what's coming next after One UI 7? While the rollout for One UI 7 isn't completely finished yet, Samsung has already moved on to developing the next update, One UI 8. Even though it's still early, we're starting to see some exciting hints about what's in store for users in the near future. So, what should you expect from One UI 8? Well, it's not going to be another massive redesign like One UI 7. Typically, Samsung doesn't follow up a big design overhaul with another one right away, but that doesn't mean One UI 8 doesn't have its share of improvements. Instead of focusing on radical changes, One UI 8 seems to be all about fine-tuning and adding useful features to enhance the user experience. One of the notable additions is a feature called Now Brief. This was first introduced on a few newer devices but will soon be available on many more models, extending beyond just the Galaxy S25 series. This is definitely a welcome feature for those who want quick access to important information, and it'll be exciting to see it on more devices. For those who love mobile videography, there's great news in One UI 8. One of the standout upgrades is the addition of log video recording on more phones, including the Galaxy Z Flip 6. This feature will give users more control over their video editing process, allowing them to adjust color grading and other aspects of their footage before it's even edited. Samsung is also making file sharing smoother. With One UI 8, Quick Share will get a more straightforward interface, clearly separating send and receive options. It might sound like a small change, but it will make a big difference when it comes to transferring files between devices, making the process much more user-friendly. In terms of design, One UI 8 will introduce some subtle changes to the Quick panel. The toggles will get a new look with extra shading that makes them appear more layered and polished. It's not a complete redesign, but it will bring a refreshed look to an often used feature. Another change users will notice is in how menus look in apps like Gallery. Instead of flat menus, One UI 8 will use a circular design around the menu options, making them easier to see and tap on. This is a small update, but it's one of those little tweaks that can make a big difference in how you interact with your phone on a daily basis. While these are some of the key features we've seen so far, there's still a lot more to look forward to. Since the update is still in development, Samsung could add even more features before the official release. Some rumors suggest that there could be improvements in multitasking, new options for the lock screen widgets, and better control in Samsung DeX mode. There's also talk of minor updates to the Galaxy AI features, but nothing's been confirmed yet. Even though One UI 8 isn't likely to be as revolutionary as One UI 7, it's not a bad thing. One UI 7 brought a lot of major changes, and now One UI 8 is shaping up to be more of a refinement, with small but impactful updates that will make the overall experience smoother and more polished. It's all about making the system better without changing things too drastically. The clock is ticking though. Samsung typically reveals its new foldable phones at the Unpacked event in the summer, and One UI 8 is expected to launch alongside the Galaxy Z Fold 7 and Galaxy Z Flip 7. This means we won't have to wait too long for the final version of the update, and any significant changes will need to be finalized soon. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest news in mobile tech and software, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Can Apple finally get it right this time? That's the question people are starting to ask after new leaks about the iPhone 17 Pro started making the rounds. We're still months away from the launch, but early details are already making waves, especially around the design. And it looks like one of the most talked about complaints might finally be getting fixed. For the last few iPhone releases, the design on the back has been a bit of a letdown for many users. The black camera section paired with a different colored rear panel never really made sense to some people. It looked like two different phones mashed together. But this year, things might be different. Leaked images suggest that Apple is going for a more consistent and clean look, with the camera area blending in with the rest of the back panel. No more awkward color contrasts, just one solid color all the way through. And this isn't just based on some random leak. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, who's known for getting Apple news right more often than not, also said in his newsletter that the iPhone 17 Pro will drop the two-tone design. So if that odd design choice was something that stopped you from upgrading in the past, it looks like Apple has listened. Now let's talk about the camera setup. Apple isn't changing the triple lens layout, but they are tweaking how it's arranged. Instead of the current triangular style, lenses will now sit in a horizontal bar across the back of the phone. On one end, there's the LED flash, and just underneath that, the LiDAR scanner. That LiDAR sensor helps with depth and makes augmented reality features more accurate. When Apple first added 3 cameras to the iPhone 11 Pro, people weren't really sure about it. Some even called it strange or ugly. But once people actually saw the phone in person, those complaints faded. The same thing might happen again with the iPhone 17 Pro's horizontal layout. It might seem odd in pictures, but chances are it'll look better in real life, just like before. On the performance side, the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max will be powered by Apple's upcoming A19 Pro chip. This chip will be built using TSMC's third-generation 3nm process, also known as N3P. At one point, there were whispers that Apple would switch to a 2nm chip this year, but that didn't work out. The costs were too high and the supply was limited. So they've saved the 2nm chips for the iPhone 18, which will bring the A20 series chips next year. Still, the A19 Pro chip is no slouch. Even though it's not a huge leap like the 2nm chip would have been, it still brings performance improvements and better power efficiency compared to the previous generation. So if you care about speed and battery life, this new chip is going to deliver solid results. Another change that's getting attention is the possible introduction of a new model called the iPhone 17 Air. This version is expected to be thinner and lighter, replacing a Plus model in the lineup. Apple seems to be focusing more on sleek and modern looks this time around, not just in the Pro models, but across all versions. If you've seen some of the early prototype leaks and were worried about the rear design or the color mismatch, it's probably safe to say that Apple is working to clean things up. They usually fine-tune everything before the final release, so what we're seeing now might not be the full picture yet. With all these updates, the iPhone 17 series is shaping up to be more polished and better thought out. So the big question now is, are you thinking of upgrading this year? Or are you holding out for the iPhone 18 with the newer chips? Tell us what you're planning in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss the next update.